dailyastrocat.com, the weekly astrology report.
On this week's report, we talk about creativity in the sign of Cancer. Mercury enters Cancer on Monday night of this week and will be conjunct with the Sun on Saturday. Talk about speedy. Will that change the way we may be thinking?
Both the Sun and Mercury form 120-degree trines with Saturn this week, and Neptune goes retrograde. The Sun and Mercury close out the week in gentle sextiles with Jupiter. Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello.
As Mars and Venus heat up, the Sun and Mercury get very strategically minded. What ensues here is sure to be very entertaining. Welcome to the Lunar Weekly Astrocat Preview. It is time to concentrate and focus.
Intentions set, our intentions well met.
I'm Shane Jensen. I'm an astrologer, and I'm not your typical natal chart reader. Instead, I interpret daily influences of the moon on us and our environs against the backdrop of traditional Western astrology.
And I'm Carrie Jensen. I'm a kitchen witch, voice actor, songstress, and neurospicy nerd for all things New Age.
We're going to begin this week talking about Mercury and the Sun. As you probably know, Mercury is the smallest planet and is closest to the Sun. Mercury's orbital period is 88 days.
Oof.
Think about that. That's how long a year is on Mercury. It is this short orbital period that makes our lives rather chaotic. You know those Mercury retrogrades. We'll talk about that, a little bit more about that in a few minutes, okay? A day on Mercury is about as long as 59 days on Earth.
Wait a minute. So a year is 88 days, but a day is 59 days?
Correct.
That's so bizarre. That's amazing.
It really is. Well, remember, Venus actually had that slow rotation too, and it went opposite of all the other planets.
Wow.
Venus was
batty.
more than a year
Wow.
for that rotation, more than a Venusian year, put it that way.
Wow.
All right, so Mercury rotates that slowly. Mercury is both very hot and very cold. Not as hot as Venus, though. 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, which, is roughly a month here, and minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit at night.
Well, yeah, with that much consistent exposure, it doesn't surprise me, or lack of exposure at night, as it were. But yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Mercury is small, but it is the second densest planet in the solar system. Only the Earth is denser.
We're dense.
Mercury isn't far behind either. Mercury has 98% of the density of Earth, even though it is roughly just over 1/3 the size of our planet.
Ah.
All right, so Mercury is never very far from the Sun either. It's only visible just before sunrise or sunset, and is very difficult for urban dwellers to see. Mercury has a highly elliptical orbit. What does that mean? It's like that oval thing, only it's more compressed. It's like, whoa, it goes way out rather than like, the gentle curves of, say, like Earth or Venus or Mars. And it has the most elliptical orbit of all the objects that are orbiting the Sun.
So it kind of does that like football shape.
Very extremely, yes.
Yeah.
Very extremely. And, what else can I tell you about Mercury?
Well, you could start by telling me about maybe the astrological properties of Mercury.
Cool. I can freely riff on this. Mercury is the planet of the mind. Yes. Mercury governs communications, technology, and our thought and self-expression. They also say Mercury is shrinking. Explains a lot, right? Mercury is everything in the present. It's the here and now. It's the five senses. And as a result, it rules our central nervous system.
Cool.
Mercury has currently been in Gemini, in his own sign of Gemini, and this all changes on Monday this week when Mercury enters the sign of Cancer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly, at 8:24 p.m. Mercury in Cancer will bring an increased sense of emotion and an intuitive way of thinking that we haven't quite experienced since the days when Mercury was in Pisces.
Does that mean we'll discover something about our emotions? Or is this more about the expression of those emotions?
I'm not really sure. All I know is that you'd better use this Mercury transit of Cancer quickly.
Hurry up!
Because Mercury leaves Cancer on July 10th.
Whew. It's just about 2 weeks from now. That's all. Such a short period of time. Do you think it'll have much of an impact?
Listen, this will be a vital transit for our creative friends out there. So it will have an impact. Mercury will race through Cancer and be conjunct with the Sun on Saturday at 9 degrees 8 minutes Cancer. Our Sabian symbol for this day is a large uncut diamond emerging.
Can you just review the Sabian symbols for a moment, what that means for anybody who hasn't seen the last show?
Sure. The Sabian symbols are symbols that were divined by a medium back in the 1920s and posted on 3x5 note cards for all 360 degrees of the zodiac. Every degree of the zodiac has a Sabian symbol, and this one happens to be the large uncut diamond emerging.
For that day. Awesome.
Our homes, as well as our creative pursuits, are a work in progress. At this time, there is inherent value in what you have now. That is only going to get better if you polish and enhance it.
Nice. So how are we going to polish this gift from the Sun and Mercury?
We're going to use the creative vibe of the Cancer season. Yeah. As a cardinal sign, Cancer is the watery beginning of the summer season. Cardinal signs are initiators. They're at the beginning of the seasonal cycle.
Cancer is a water sign, so it's going to be introverted and sensitive, but kind of in an extroverted way. Cancer creates from a place of relative safety and limited exposure. Cancer wants also to nurture and protect the people and things that are important to them. That includes their creative endeavors.
Well done. Your Mercury's in Cancer, so you should know.
Darn Skippy.
That makes this a Mercury return for you.
Ooh.
It is a place where you can gain additional insight and knowledge about your mind and creative pursuits.
Me? Oh, no, you don't. Just because you're using an AI thing to help you write this stuff doesn't mean that I'm going to start using it too.
This AI thing doesn't write it for you. It is scanning my previous writings and throwing a few suggestions out there. I have to correct it before it is presentable.
But that's what you have me for, isn't it? I'm your editor. I'm your proofreader, cook, cleaner, laundry person.
Fake news. I cook. I cook. Lots of times I cook.
I get everything
And
ready
you
and
like-
clean all of it up afterwards.
And you like the laundry done a certain way.
Yeah, that's
That is
true.
how we maintain domestic bliss, clearly. Besides, I will do laundry if I'm asked, and I also take care of the cats.
If you're asked, yes.
Sirius approves.
Sirius does approve. He certainly does. I just got him more of his beloved fish. We keep it in the freezer because, he's gotten quite spoiled over the last few weeks. Stella, she's not so fond of his fish. She doesn't touch it. Speaking of Stella, she's due for another spa day.
Yay, cat bath time. Oh, well, at least she's jumping and running more since the last one.
Yeah, she was so vivacious afterwards.
So I
Nice.
suppose it's a good habit to get into. Watery fun with cats with the Sun in Cancer. Woohoo! But we initially did it when both the Sun and Mercury were in Gemini. Go figure. We thought about that.
Yeah, that was kind of geared toward being a communication thing, right? Because you told her she could do an entire show by herself. She'd be all sparkly and shiny, and that was a solstice show. Now we're at the point where the days will be getting shorter and Venus will begin to dip in the evening sky.
Ah, yes. Venus and Mars are conjunct all week long, and Venus is beginning to slow down, at least from our vantage point in the sky. After all, Venus will be retrograde on the 22nd of July. Now, we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about Saturn, okay? Towards the end of the week, Saturn enters into our charts. Saturn is a planet of discipline and as such is seen as being difficult to work with. A 120-degree trine with both the Sun and Mercury will occur later this week. Let's look at the effects of a Sun-Saturn trine first.
Now, Saturn is a planet of limitations and boundaries. Now, in Pisces, Saturn checks our emotions and spirituality to keep us from being over the top in these respects. So that's a little bit of restraint there.
Retrograde Saturn can have us reviewing how we perceive any experiences we may have had in this regard. Saturn itself has us looking inward as to how we handle both responsibilities and our emotional stability.
Interesting, all paired with the Pisces stuff. Now, Saturn and the Sun in Cancer. Sun in Cancer needs to check emotions at the door? How is that supposed to be like a harmonious aspect? Really? Actually, it can be very good if we're trying to produce things of lasting value. Like that diamond from earlier. We create best when we're not quite so emotionally invested in our projects. Nothing is going to be too precious. And that'll make us more productive and more profitable if that's what we're working towards.
As they say, perfection is procrastination in disguise. Precious. So, from a standpoint of originating creative works or content, this will work quite nicely. We have been extolling the virtues of the limitations of Saturn on both Venus and Mars earlier.
A couple weeks ago, right?
Yep, a couple weeks ago. That pertained to a different type of creativity, building on our past efforts. This is all about generating something new.
This is all making so much sense to my Mercury and Cancer mind. I can't wait to hear about Mercury and Saturn.
Oh, well then, hang on. And I will engage your curiosity. That is, after all, what we do here.
Hang on for what? Like a water break or something? What's the point? A what? Really? Mm-hmm. Come on. I just want to know what happens next. Come on.
It's a water break. Look, we already discussed Mercury entering Cancer. That occurred on Monday night. Mercury will have us feeling more intuitive and more in touch with our emotions, like she just did. With the, I need to know it now. This gives our communications a more personal touch.
Well, that's good, but you're advocating for some sort of promotional activity, and that should have been mentioned last week, don't you think?
No, not if you were a faithful listener or viewer, because you'd know this on the day we released it, like Sunday. Hopefully you would have commented on it as well. We need engagement in order to grow and push the algorithm.
Fair enough.
All right. So once again, Saturn and Pisces will inform these communications. We will be able to find out and find an appeal directly to our audience. We're going to find you. Don't worry. This will carry over into the coming week brilliantly. The Saturn-Mercury trine occurs in the early morning hours on Thursday. Listen to Daily Astrocat, the daily forecast, for more information on both days.
Shameless self-promotion. What's next? Buy the disc?
No, as if you're going to download it on Bandcamp and get a free bonus track.
Yes!
Search for Kabatha, okay? There are currently 4 songs there.
There actually are, even though we haven't looked at them in forever.
I suppose we're going to have to upgrade that, though.
It doesn't cost anything, does it?
No, we just need to add to our song library.
Ooh, our sound library. Can I get a library card for it? Oh, can I design one? How much would it cost for a little key tab thingy thing?
You mean like that?
Could it have other functions?
That bundle that you have on your keyring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do all these
AutoZone?
How often do we go to AutoZone? Yeah.
AutoZone, really? There's an AutoZone thing on your
You know what?
keyring.
Where do all these ideas come from anyway?
That's a good question. Perhaps we can find the answer to them in due time.
You have all next week. I have a list.
So much for my vacation.
Can't we start up a website again for our music? I mean, you already own the domain and you have the hosting all lined up.
Look, can we just finish here? Listen, Neptune retrograde occurs on June 30th at 5:07 p.m. here on the East Coast. This shift directs our focus inward.
Ooh.
And our innermost desires and aspirations, they're going to grant us greater clarity, and it's going to grant us greater... Hang on a second. Grant us greater clarity into things that may have been eluding us. That's what retrograde Neptune does. It's clarity. If Neptune is mysterious by nature and very veiled and everything, Neptune retrograde is very clear. But if you have problems like addictions and stuff like that, that's going to become clear too.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the unveiling.
This transit encourages us to revisit our dreams and find ways to make them a reality. When paired with Saturn in Pisces, we're able to connect our heartfelt dreams to our broader life goals. And Saturn's guiding hand helps us to take practical steps towards manifesting some of our deepest desires. Sounds pretty dreadful, right? It sounds powerful, actually. Listen, who said Saturn is dreadful? Saturn, the limitations are a good thing, and you should really learn to embrace them because they will keep you from doing something really, really, really regrettable. Mm-hmm. All right? So, who says retrogrades are bad even? The Neptune retrograde is actually very good. Uranus retrograde is actually pretty decent, too. They are times to reflect, reset, and redefine our purpose.
And retrogrades are great times to review said purposes. And it's also a great time to get back into living life intentionally and spiritually.
That's really well said. That's going to bring us to the last aspects we wanted to discuss. And this is going to force us to bring everything we have to the table.
Boom.
Double sextiles. You're going to double down. You're going to double down on the double sextiles, okay? Between the sun, the conjunct sun, and Mercury. Oh, yes, they are conjunct with Jupiter. And we're going to talk about that conjunction as well.
And now we are moving on to discuss the sun conjunct Mercury.
Just like I said.
This powerful aspect brings clarity and focus to our communication style. We're able to better articulate our thoughts and ideas, and our messages are received with greater clarity. This alignment also brings a burst of mental energy, giving us the ability to process information more quickly and make decisions with confidence.
The Jupiter sextiles with both the sun and Mercury will help us bring a little badly needed green energy to the watery opportunities that the sun and Mercury are going to be providing us with.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And now for the best days.
All right. So we seem to have skipped one.
Guys.
We skipped one.
We skipped one?
Yep. There you go.
Oh, okay. So the best day for love?
Is Thursday. Venus in Leo is in a trine with Chiron in Aries at 4:41 in the morning. This alignment can help us heal old emotional wounds, especially those related to love and relationships. It invites us to find the beauty in our vulnerability and to use our pain as a catalyst for growth. Oof. As we move through this transit, we may find that our hearts are more open and receptive to love and connection, and that we are able to let go of the past, hurts, and forgive ourselves and others. So, Carrie, what's the best day for business?
Best day for business? That's going to be Saturday. There's money to be made from home, just doing what you do. Jupiter in Taurus says so. Think about it.
And what is the best day for health?
That also is Saturday. Mercury and the sun in Cancer are sextile with Jupiter in Taurus. So to me, that kind of sounds like visualize a quiet, serene morning, reading the paper, doing some light gardening, and then Saturday evening has a couple of fire trines. So you're going to want to plan for that energy rush and probably for staying up a little late. And it's a fantastic day for an evening walk.
All right. And the best day for transformation is?
That's going to be Wednesday. 3 water trines are happening between 11:30 a.m. and 6 at night. This will help you wrap your head around any changes you may have made or intend to make at home or for your emotional and spiritual well-being.
Okay. So apparently, I guess you really liked Saturday.
I did.
Because everything was Saturday. All right. I think the whole week is going to have a distinctive vibe. Creativity calls, and your intuition will heed that call. It's funny because during the week, there are a series of lunar squares that are going to be very challenging. You cannot let that slow you down, okay? You have to be willing to take risks and push through.
Mm-hmm. You can do it.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We get to do this all together. Please share this, like, follow, and hit that bell down there if you're watching it on YouTube for notifications.
Show us that love, guys. Talk to us. We want to know how your week is going. Did you work your magic? Feed us some feedback. Remember, it's daily-astrocat.com by Stella on Facebook and all sorts of social media.
Yep, and it's also on podcast everywhere where you can get the podcast.
Yeah.
Wherever you get your podcasts, it's there. It's just Daily Astrocat. Hey, it's nice to see you tackle the best days, Carrie.
Thanks.
Cancer is a finicky sign. The water signs are known for their fickle nature. With the sun in Cancer, this week is no exception. It could be stellar, but you are going to have to tread very carefully and stay focused and don't let your emotions carry you away. Remember, business is business is business, okay?
Yeah, and it'd be too easy for us to just try and forge blindly ahead. Intuition requires that we listen and trust the voice of our inner wisdom. Not gonna lie, this is hard to do at times with distractions and other people trying to tell us what to do, what to think, what they think.
It requires a clear vision. Once Neptune is retrograde, we need to dial into that whole Jupiter and Taurus sextile vibe. You know, the one with the sun and Mercury. That is the energy field we need to be spending as much time in as possible, that green energy field.
And don't wait for the ideal moment. There is no such thing as the ideal moment, okay? Mercury only has 2 weeks, and so much can be accomplished in that time. We can brag about it later when Mercury's in Leo.
All right, that's what we have for you. Have a happy Astro week.
Happy astrocatting.
Didn't work.
No, totally forgot to hit the record button.